Hello, my name is Adam Pennington, and I'm presenting on the Stallion performance of the 2023 Futurities for the NRCHA and NCHA. Just a quick overview. Today's performance horse industry, there are three major events: the cutting, the reining, and the Reined Cow Horse. I found a data set on Facebook posted by a guy named Jim Mann, posting the top 30 performers and their percent performance, and talking about how many of the foals from 4 years ago in 2019 performed in the Futurities this year. As a horse owner, this directly affects the value of my horses based on their sire's performance, their siblings' performance, their parents' performance. We're going to look at the earnings and stud fees of the top 30 in their offspring to see if there has been any change over the past 3 years. The Futurities and percent performance are similar to how many babies of the sires competed in the Kentucky Derby, basically. This is our Futurity horse. This is Harry, Toes in the Sand. He was sired by a sire named Sandman, who is one of the top 30 sires that you're going to see on the data set. This is my wife, Morgan, showing him at this year's Snafflebit Futurity in Fort Worth, Texas. Here's the original data set. So you can see 2020 foals. Metallic Cat had 187 foals. 22 of them went to the Snafflebit Futurity, which was 11.8%, and he had 61 of them in the NCHA cutting Futurity this year. Just under him, Metallic Rebel, one of his offspring actually won the cutting Futurity 2 days ago, so that's pretty exciting. I hypothesized that the stud fees will all increase over the past 4 years. The cost to buy a horse during COVID increased dramatically based on the interest and growth in the sport, and I expect the stud fees to reflect this. I expect the progeny earnings to relate to the percent performance of the top 30 sires. The best sires should be the ones with the high progeny earnings, which is their offspring's earnings. And I'm going to go over that. I expect the junior sires at a young age to have a higher percent performance than the oldest sires in the industry on the top 30 list. The performance industry continues to get better, faster, stronger, and owners are selecting higher quality breeding prospects, and this is selecting for better genetics. So progeny is the offspring's earnings. So all of the offspring the sires ever had is the progeny earnings. Some of my objectives, I wanted to find this difference in stud fees from 2019 to 23, determine the correlation between the stallion's year foaled, which is their age, and the percent performance, the progeny earnings, lifetime earnings, and I wanted to take those and compare them to the percent performance as well. I wanted to see if there was a change in cost to breed between 2019 and 2023 for the top 30 sires. And then lastly, I made a map of where those stallions are standing to determine if there was hotspots nationally in the Western performance industry. So stud fees from 2019 to 2023, I generated a table in R and found some averages. The average in 2019 was $4,479. The average in 2023 was $4,124. So therefore, my hypothesis was actually incorrect. I'm going to move on here to this plot, so where you can compare 2019 and 2023 stud fees. If you take a look here at Highbrow Cat, Highbrow Cat actually was foaled in 1988. His stud fee in 2019 was $15,000. He actually died in 2019 and dropped the stud fee to $5,000. He was 31 years old. So his his statistics are kind of an outlier here, but they actually skew our data pretty big and drop that average for 2023 quite a bit. Right next to him, though, is a very popular stud named Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan had 291 foals in 2020, and his stud fee actually increased from 4,000 to 7,500. So if you take note too, hashtags had 304 foals in 2020, and his stud fee actually increased by $500 as well. So the correlation between age and percent performing sires, the top 30 performing sires in 2023, made another table in R, took the mean year fold for the top 30 sires. 2007 was the mean year, with the oldest sire being Highbrow Cat in 1988. The youngest sire fold was Scooter Cat in 2015, which gives us a large range of 27 years. So that's pretty crazy. So here I've mapped that for you, or not mapped, but plotted. I've got a plot with performance percentage on the left, on the y-axis there. Some of the oldest sires there are Highbrow Cat and Dual Ray, and they are outperforming some of the junior sires. If you take a look here, this was the highest performing. Metallic Cat was the highest performing sire with the most babies in the futurity, or most percentage of babies in the futurity. And then Metallic Rebel was second. And his, like I said, his offspring won the cutting futurity on December 9th. The older studs are definitely not going out of style, though. You can see the trend line literally shows that the older horses are still performing better than the junior sires. So I wanted to see if there was a correlation between progeny earnings and percent performance, or lifetime earnings and percent performance. I've got some crazy statistics, though. Standard deviation of progeny earnings was $20 million. The average progeny earnings of the top 30 sires was $12,235,000. And the range of lifetime earnings started from 105,000 up to 637,000 with Metallic Cat. So that means that all top 30 sires have won enough money to get over $105,000. Won enough shows to win $105,000. Here's the progeny earnings map. You can see Highbrow Cat has $90 million in progeny earnings. That means his offspring have went and competed and won $90 million. Metallic Cat, they're just over 60, being the second highest progeny earnings. Here's the lifetime earnings. Now, lifetime earnings does not include breeding. It is strictly performance winnings. None of these sires had made less than $100,000 in their lifetime, showing in the NRCHA, NCHA, whatever they were performers at, which is extremely impressive. The ones that were showing back in the 90s, however, which would have been Dual Ray and Highbrow Cat, do have a little bit lower lifetime earnings because this was not near as popular of a sport. It was less money in the pot, less money for winning events, and obviously you see Metallic Cat, who is the highest percent performer in 2023, has the highest lifetime earnings, and his lifetime earnings were like 637,000 or something like that. So here's a map I came up with. So I took all top 30 sires and I mapped out the addresses of where they're standing. The Stallions were all standing in Texas except for 3 of them. 2 are in California and 1 is in Oklahoma. There's an obvious hotspot of the Western performance industry down in Texas, like near Fort Worth. And then you've got Call Me Mitch and Scooter Cat are actually standing in Oklahoma or in California. This is extremely interesting. Just to add data from this year's Western Bloodstock Cutting Futurity sale. This was last week, December 6th. 185 horses sold for a total of $17,817,000. That's an insane statistic. That was before the sale was actually over, but that's what this data set is. These are all the same sires. I mean, almost all of these sires were in the top 30 from 2023 Futurities. The average sale price of horses for this sale was $57,767. The 1-year-olds, their average was $91,548. 2-year-olds averaged $82,016. So stud fees are looking pretty good, looking pretty cheap. This is all information from the westernbloodstock.com. They're the ones who put on the sale. So just to recap, I discovered sire stud fees vary based on individual factors, but the mean stud fee for 2023 actually decreased from 2019. Therefore, I have to reject my hypothesis that the stud fees have increased over the past 4 years. I discovered the older sires are still performing at the top of their game, and their progeny are still performing at the top of their game, which was entirely unexpected. I'm sure that trainers are to credit for that. Therefore, I have to reject my hypothesis there as well. There were some junior sires that are performing just as good as the older ones, but my trend line showed that the older sires are still doing better. The progeny earnings are much higher in the horses that have been around the longest, so age can skew the results. Therefore, I cannot accept the hypothesis, and further research could be done to figure out how progeny earnings correlates to the performance of their progeny. To their performance percentage. Some other findings. The lifetime earnings showed that Metallic Cat stands alone in lifetime earnings and is still at the top of his game, producing the highest percent performance in 2023. The hot spot of the Western performance industry is in Texas, with only 3 of those top 30 sires not standing in Texas. So pretty interesting stuff. Here's my references. Again, Jim Mann provided the data set on Performance Horse Central on Facebook. I used Western Bloodstock and Quarter Horse News on the internet. And I want to thank Morgan Pennington and Rita Walton for assisting in data collection for these top 30 sires. So thanks.